Guys, how's it going? To all of those joining me live and those that will be joining me on archive, this is my official on how I think this election's going to play out. All right. Again, thanks to those that have been listening and asking questions. It's look, these political vids on my channel are not going to get the amount of vids I would if I was just doing straight boxing talk. And I understand that a lot of my subscribers are like, yeah, I don't care about that shit. Get it. Right, but it's all right. I mean, election will be over by tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to the election being over, talking Kovalev versus Ward, and more boxing talk. I just needed to get away from the sport of boxing for a while. That's really all it was. But again, of course, and tomorrow, I think I'm probably gonna. And if anybody's interested, I want to do like a panel, like a around the time, and if I could be live on here when whoever's announced president, that would be great. All right. This is my official prediction, and that's that. So let's kind of go over the map here. It's going to be very interesting. So let's look at the path to victory right now. Let's go ahead and put away the states that are easily going to go to one way or the other and see who has the advantage right off the bat. But before we even do that, let me just say I understand a lot of people are looking at national polling. And while that gives you some indicator, it does not tell the entire story. There's different circumstances in different states. And except for Michigan and Nebraska are literally winner to take all. In the case of, I'm not Michigan, did I say Michigan? Maine and Nebraska are winner to take all. But as far as Maine and Nebraska, it's really only one electoral vote that can go to the other candidate. The way it stands, right? So yes, usually the popular vote usually becomes states, but that's not the way you win it, though. Never forget that Al Gore actually had 1,000 plus more votes than George W. Bush, but still lost the election. The couple hundred of votes, really, it came down to in Florida in very controversial fashion. Also, although Bush got over 50% of the popular vote in 2004, it came down to a couple thousand votes in Ohio that ultimately won him the election. All right, so it does come down to these states. That's what it's going to come down to, point blank, period. All right. It's not like if Kerry would have had a couple more in Ohio, even though he didn't get the popular vote, he would have beat George Bush in 2004. All right, so just keep that in mind. All right. With that said, there's a lot of correlations in elections that people make, and I think they confuse it for, well, that means it's a wrap. So, for example, a Republican doesn't go to the White House without Ohio. Well, just because if Trump wins Ohio doesn't literally mean it's going to the White House, right? It just so happens to be that's just the way it was. Like Texas at one point, a Democrat could not go to the White House without winning Texas at one point. And Bill Clinton obviously broke that trend when he went to the White House. Anyway, let's get this map started. We got 50 states to look at here. We're going to start in the East Coast, right? First of all, let's start all the way here. Right? I know that overall, you know what? We're going to leave Maine aside. We're not going to touch Maine because I believe Trump's going to get that one electoral vote out of Maine. We're going to leave Maine to the side for now, right? We're going to leave New Hampshire to the side. It's a battleground state. We're not going to touch New Hampshire right now. Let's start with the 3 electoral votes in Vermont. Bernie Sanders is the senator of Vermont, very liberal state, heavily blue. This one polls. It's going to go to Hillary Clinton. I mean, it's not even going to be close. All right. So Vermont's going to go to Hillary Clinton. All right. Let me lift this thing a little bit here. 3 electoral points. Remember, it's 270, right, to win the White House. Right? Don't Don't forget that, right? Massachusetts, 11 electoral points is easily going to go, all right, and I believe, right? Um, I'm waiting for this thing to turn blue here. Apparently, my electoral map is saying no, no, it's not. Now, these are kind of small here, so look, I'm going to give Rhode Island points are going to go to Hillary Clinton as well, right? Um, of course, these are givens. Connecticut, 7 electoral points. I think that's going to easily go to Hillary Clinton as well. It's not even going to be close. So there go 7 electoral points for Hillary Clinton. New Jersey go to Hillary Clinton, right? Earlier in the year, when look, I mean, they have a Republican governor with Chris Christie, and if he runs with Trump, I mean, they could take New York and New Jersey. They didn't go with that, and even if Christie was the vice president, it would have been a wrap. Okay, especially with the approval rating of Chris Christie, there is abysmal. As a just the whole Bridgegate thing, it has not been good. The 3 electoral points of Delaware are also going to easily go over to Hillary Clinton. 10 electoral points of Maryland. Earlier in the year, they actually thought this was going to be a little more competitive. In fact, I don't think that long ago, just a couple months ago, but Maryland is definitely a wrap. 10 electoral points to Hillary Clinton. All right. The North, okay, the East Coast, up north. I mean, that the Democrats have that locked in, I believe, for at least 2-3 more generations. That happens, in all honesty. All right, so Maryland, I believe, is going to be going to the Democratic nominee. D.C., the capital, heavily when Reagan was winning landslides, he had a hard time. Republicans have a very hard time with D.C. 3 electoral points of the capital, the United States of America. All right, to Hillary Clinton. And why Maryland just turned red, I have no idea. I'll change that in a little bit. There we go. Right. Maryland is definitely not going to go to Donald Trump. 55 electoral points so far. Hillary Clinton, right off the bat. I mean, and the reason I wanted to kind of show you this way, just look how that small portion of blue that I've covered. These states, they don't look very big, but their population is still relatively the same or sometimes even greater than some of these bigger blocks over here in where what used to be the Louisiana Purchase or in the South. Just so when you see a lot of red in the map, there's just that perception of, wow, look at the Republicans. I mean, they're ruling over the entire United States of America, but that's not really the case. All right. Is going to go to Hillary Clinton. There was, some talk, Donald Trump's from New York, and some talks that he can take New York, right? But that's not going to happen in this case. The 29 electoral points of votes or whatever, right, for to the Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton. She's at 84 electoral right now. All right. Illinois, which is where Barack Obama is very popular. She won that state handedly against Bernie Sanders. Heavily blue. Okay, the 20 electoral points of Illinois. Ironically, the home of not the home, but where and this used to be Republican territory. For those that don't know, Republican Party was first established. They ruled over this part of the nation, right? The Midwest especially. But points of Illinois will be going to none other than Hillary Clinton. I'm hearing rumblings about Minnesota. Look, Minnesota is not going to go to Donald Trump, right? 10 electoral points in Minnesota would be going to Hillary Clinton. That puts her at 114. I'm going to go ahead and say right now that Washington, the 12 electoral points of Washington will be going to the Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton. All right. I believe that's going to prop her up to one as soon as this map decides to do it. There we go. The 7 electoral points of Oregon will be easily going to Hillary Clinton. So as you can see here, just states that the Democrats have locked up. And we're talking about just locked up states. She's already at 126 right now, right? Or 130. I'm sorry, 133 with Oregon, right? Also, New Mexico, the 5 electoral points of New Mexico, it's just going to easily. I know my region, all right? And although I'm in Texas, I'm in El Paso, Texas, Donald Trump is not going to win New Mexico, all right? So that puts Hillary Clinton at 138. Now, here is the juggernaut. Here is the big one. And Donald Trump has absolutely no shot in winning this state. And it's a big state. And that's the 55 electoral, none other than the state of California. Right? Now, that's going to propel Hillary to 193. Also, the 4 electoral votes of Hawaii are going to be going to Hillary Clinton as well. So there we go. So far, sure states that I believe Hillary's going to win without any doubt. It's going to lock in for sure is 197 electoral votes. That's less than 100 that she needs at this point to win the election. Right? These are for sure, without doubt, with no 5% chance, nothing. Trump wins these states, in my honest opinion. All right. Now, let's go over the states I believe Trump's going to win without a shadow of a doubt. All right. Oh, I believe South Carolina, although I had feelings that South Carolina may have been competitive at one point, it's lost. South Carolina will be going to Donald Trump, right? That puts him at 9 electoral points. West Virginia, the 5 electoral points of West Virginia, I believe will be going to Donald Trump as well. In fact, I believe Hillary's going to worst ass beatings. She's going to get in the entire night. West Virginia. I'll be shocked if Hillary could get over 30% of the vote in West Virginia. I really will. Just not very liked there, Hillary, right? Liked at all. They don't really like her over there. Just they're terrible. Just terrible in West Virginia. Registered Democrats there have been voting for Republican for years, right? And that has a lot to do with, coal mining and stuff like that, for those that don't know. I believe Alabama is going to for sure be going to Donald Trump. I think Kentucky or go to Donald Trump. I think the 11 electoral points of Tennessee will for sure be going to Donald Trump without a shadow of a doubt. Be close. All right. You have, of course, the 6 electoral points of Mississippi. They're going to easily take that state. Louisiana, where David Duke has actually becoming senator there. No doubt about it, Donald Trump will win the 8th electoral, the state of Louisiana as well, without a shadow of a doubt, right? The 6 electoral votes of Arkansas will definitely be going to Donald Trump without a shadow of a doubt. Look, the South, for the most part, is locked in. All right. Um, I think Missouri, 10 electoral points. I think that's going to be going to Donald Trump as well. I saw some polls a couple weeks ago where they had it close. But no, I think Donald Trump has it pretty locked in for sure. Oklahoma, 7 electoral points to Donald Trump as well. It's not even going to be close. All right. Kansas, that's going to be going to Donald Trump. And again, this is, look how much red there's already, and it's 70. We're at 85 electoral points. Nebraska, right? 5 electoral points, and 90 so far. All right. South Dakota, all right, and North Dakota, 3 electoral points each as well. I think those will also be. All right. I don't think those are going to be close whatsoever. It's a lot of landmass, but not a lot of electoral points. All right. For those that haven't noticed. So Montana, 3 electoral points, a lot of landmass. But hey, these 3 points there, 4 points there, they add up, especially when they're givens and guarantees. I don't see why they won't take it. Right. Points of Idaho, I believe, are going to be going to Donald Trump pretty easily. 3 electoral points of Wyoming are going to be going to Donald Trump pretty easily. All right. So far, and this one, I'm going to call it, and I'm going to actually put it on the for sure column as well, of Texas, which is 38 electoral points. Right, that's my home state right there. But I think we're going to outperform 2012. The Democrats, that is, are going to outperform 2012. Like in other words, I think Romney, McCain, Donald Trump's going to do in Texas, but Trump's going to easily win Texas as well. It might be like a 10% difference. It might be less than that, but we will see, right? So I'm giving Donald Trump the big state of Texas right there. That puts him at 144 for sure states. Hillary at 197 for sure states, right? We're not talking favorites here. We're just talking states that for sure they have locked in without a shadow of a doubt. So as you can see, Hillary has a pretty good margin right there, a very good margin so far, all right? Let's talk about states that I'm favoring heavily win, and then we're going to see the map from there, okay? So let's take a look here. All right. First of all, let's talk about Georgia. I didn't put Georgia on the for sure because it's been a battleground state for so long. It's leaning, Republican right now. I think Donald Trump is going to win the state. And when it comes down to it, I think he's going to win it. Right? Alaska, again, small state, so the polling is kind of hard to look at, but I think ultimately the 3 electoral points of Alaska as well, despite what a couple weeks ago, some polls had it pretty close, right? So I'm going to also give Alaska to Donald Trump. Hey, those are 3 electoral points, right? And also, I think Utah, Donald Trump as well. I think McMullen had a little bit of a run there, right? He did, but I think ultimately Donald Trump will be winning the 6 electoral points of Utah. So that gets him a little closer to Hillary, right? Although Hillary has an outside shot to win Georgia, she has an outside shot of winning Utah and an outside shot of winning Alaska. States, could she pull off a pretty big upset on any one of those 3? Is it possible? Maybe. I just wouldn't put my money on it, right? That's what I think. All right. I believe, well, actually, these are a little closer, so I'm going to wait on these here. Now let me kind of give you some that I think are being considered close or competitive, but I think ultimately Hillary's going to win, right? I believe Hillary is going to win Pennsylvania, all right? I do. I think she's going to win Pennsylvania. The polling has her up there. Plus, I mean, it's like always close, and the Democrat always wins it pretty handily. All right. Not one of the locked in for sure, but I think she's a pretty clear favorite to win Pennsylvania. And winning Pennsylvania, look at where that puts Hillary. All right. I mean, it puts her in a really good position. I also believe that Hillary's going to win Michigan. That's 16 electoral votes there, right? It's going to get her closer to 270. I'm pretty confident he's going to win Pennsylvania. I'm pretty confident he's going to win Michigan, right? And then we're going to look at the most likely scenarios right now play out, right? I also believe she's going to win the 9 electoral votes of Colorado. I see her winning that shit as well. No big concern with that. That puts her at 242 thus far, right? So shit's getting a little interesting. Ultimately, right, these states are pretty hard to call here, all right? But I think she's going to win Virginia. Everything is showing us that she's going to win Virginia, right? By her winning Virginia, okay, that's going to put her at 255. This is where most pollsters have her right now, projected. Somewhat what it looks like and what they're leaving as the battleground, right? She used to have New Hampshire locked in. New Hampshire's no longer very clear, right? I think she's going to win. At this point, what is it going to come down to, right? When you really look at it, I think she's going to win Wisconsin. I think Hillary is, that is. And I think this is a pretty accurate, in my opinion, of what we're looking at. I'm going to give Donald Trump Indiana. I'm going to give him the state of Indiana. I think he takes that state for sure. Maine is going to go. She's going to win at least. I'm going to give her Maine, but I don't know if she's going to take all of the electoral points or votes, that is, of Maine. I don't think she's going to do that. But for the sake of completing this map, that puts her at 169, the way it stands right now. If all Hillary won were these states, nobody wins, right? The House of Representatives would end up picking the next president of the United States, right? So this scenario is possible. It's all entirely possible. Now, if Trump could win electoral votes out of Maine, out of the one district, that would put her at 168, or 268, I'm sorry. And he does have a path to victory. Which I believe will happen. Now, how do I think that these swing states are going to go? Right now, right? Now, keep in mind, New Hampshire and Nevada used to be windows, and now they're kind of toss-ups, right? So how do I think it's going to go? I believe when you're watching the election early tomorrow, or not early, but you know what I mean, early election night, look out for New Hampshire, okay? New Hampshire. If Hillary Clinton loses New Hampshire, right? Because I ultimately believe she's going to win. She has way too many options to win. Like she has more room to not win a state, lose this state, lose that state, where he has less room for error, right? So I think that's why she's a favorite to win. So what we're going to do here, we're going to kind of look at it and be like, well, okay, let's say we're going to give Donald Trump the state of Ohio, which is not a guarantee, but I believe he's ultimately going to win. Indicates that he's going to win Ohio. She's an underdog in the state. She could win it, but I think it's going to go to Donald Trump. So even if he wins Ohio in this hypothetical, he's still way behind. Still has to do some big moves here, right? He's got to win Arizona. I think he will ultimately win Arizona. But the fact that it's a battleground state, even for Republicans, speaks volumes. But I think he's going to ultimately win it, right? And that's 11 electoral votes out of Arizona. So I've given him Arizona, which I believe he's going to win anyway, right? I also think he's going to win Iowa. Now, Iowa's a small, unpredictable state, so anything could happen. But I have Trump as a favorite in Iowa. Trump still has to make some big moves here, right? It's a toss-up. It can go either way. North Carolina, it's close. It can go either way. Nevada is close. New Hampshire is close. Hillary just needs to win one of those. That's it. Just to win one of those. Scenario, Nebraska, if she wins that one district, okay, she can actually get the electoral votes out of that, and she could win that way. So keep that in mind. Obama won it in 2008. He didn't win it in 2012. So keep an eye on that. If Trump wins, let's say we give him North Carolina, give him Florida. Florida can very well, like just in 2000, take a while to project, by the way. It might be one of the last states, even though it's in the East Coast, to project, right? Giving Donald Trump right now, I just gave him North Carolina and Florida, which are not guarantees, and he's still short. I also I gave him the benefit of the doubt throughout here, right? Let's say he wins New Hampshire. If Donald Trump can pull off New Hampshire, this is a scenario, right? That's a very, this basically, either we have a tie, which is literally right down the middle. And for those that don't understand, I actually just saw something there that I could take advantage of. But this is very possible. This could happen. And if this happens, no one wins, and the House of Representatives picks the next president, right? And all the voting didn't matter. Okay, just think about that, right? So this is possible, especially how close New Hampshire and Nevada are. I believe that Hillary is going to win both states, right? I think she's going to win Nevada and New Hampshire. I just do. And I believe also that she's going to pull off Florida, just edge it. But in this scenario, I'm giving it to Trump. I also believe she has a very good shot at winning North Carolina, right? And remember, in this scenario, I'm giving him Ohio, I'm giving him Iowa, but she's in it, right? Arizona, she's in it. I'm just giving it to him in this scenario, right? This is what I believe is ultimately going to happen. Now, she doesn't have to win both. Very well, take New Hampshire, but he still doesn't get the 270 he needs to win the presidency, right? Even if he wins New Hampshire, right? If you give Donald Trump Nevada, but not New Hampshire. Like, he needs to take both. If she wins, let's say, like in that case, like right there, this is a scenario. If she wins Nevada and he wins New Hampshire, let's reverse it. It's the same thing, right? It's the exact same thing. Even if we reverse the role, she still wins. She has way more paths for victory. If she wins Florida or North Carolina, the upset in Ohio or Arizona or anything like that, she doesn't even need New Hampshire and Nevada, right? So it's going to be a tough path here. Electorally, I think she's going to in the overall national vote. I think she's going to, like in the northern states and California and all that, she's just blowing him out. And in states like Texas, where traditionally Republicans just blow out the Democrat, yes, he's winning, but she's getting almost 40% of the vote. You got to keep that in mind. But that doesn't really matter. Now, if we look at this scenario, that Donald Trump in this scenario, right? Let's say he pulls off New Hampshire and he pulls off Nevada. Let's say that were to happen. If that were possible, we already know that puts him at 269 at 269, right? Now, here are two scenarios that could take place, right? In the bottom right of the screen there, okay, you're looking at Maine and Nebraska. Each one of those states are pretty much locked in, right? And then there's districts that are separate from that. Okay? So basically, if the districts, but off one of those districts, they actually win that one electoral point out of that district, and that can actually play a role in this specific example, right? If this thing actually switches to the 269 to 69, there we go. All right, that Donald Trump wins like in this scenario, right? Which is possible. Donald Trump pulls off, okay, that one district in Maine, which gives him that one electoral vote. You know what I mean? And Maine's going to be called early tomorrow. So keep that. You got to look at that. That one electoral vote can make all the difference in the world. That one district can decide the president of the United States, as you can see right there. Literally decide it. Now, she could pull off the district and we're back to stage one. All right? So Nebraska and Maine, even though we know who's going to win the state overall, you got to keep an eye on those districts because they can play a big role, all right? A big role. It can. So anyway, that's. But I think ultimately, this is how I think it's going to play. I think one district up there in Maine, right? I do. Let me go ahead and give this. I don't think she's going to take anything in Nebraska. I do believe that Trump's going to, for sure, right? But here's what I believe is going to happen. Okay, I believe she's going to win Nevada. She's going to win New Hampshire, right? I believe she's going to win North Carolina. That's my prediction. And I believe she's going to win Florida, right? So the way I'm actually projecting this right now is 322 Hillary, 216 Trump. This is how I ultimately believe. This is my official prediction right here. At it, right here, right? So I know I went through some scenarios just to keep in mind. Remember those districts in Maine and Nebraska. They could play a role, especially the one in Maine. Early in the night, if New Hampshire, she could be in big trouble. She really can. So just keep an eye on that. Anyway, this is D style boxing. This is how I believe it's going to go down. All right. Say it, man. That's my prediction. I'm out.